So I arrived in college thinking about journalism, and I remember going to the basement of the Harvard Crimson, and someone who was a couple years ahead of me, who was the managing editor of the paper, took me downstairs to the printing presses, and I saw those presses just, they were there. I mean, it was old-fashioned, real journalism standing in a newsroom, and I just got so psyched. I went to a place that really offered a well-rounded liberal arts education, and I went to Harvard, but I don't think Harvard is, it's a great institution, but what it offers can be offered by institutions around the entire country. It was just this place that brought people together from all different parts of the country, different parts of the world, different backgrounds, and created this environment that if you took advantage of it and were hungry, that was largely what you could get out of the college experience. The classes were great, and I remember taking seminars and courses about William Faulkner, about astronomy that I never was exposed to in high school, and it just opened my eyes to the world. I think probably the mentor who most impacted my career is a colleague of mine at NPR named Don Gagné. He's a national political correspondent, but we covered the White House together, George W. Bush's White House. And I got to NPR in 2005, having just done print journalism, really excited about radio, but having no idea what I was doing. And Don and I shared this little tiny booth in the West Wing that was the NPR booth. And he just spent more time with me, mentoring me and teaching me radio, more time than he ever needed to spend. He's a busy guy with, a job that took a lot of his time up. He has 2 daughters, a family. He didn't need to spend that time with me, but he did it because, I think mentorship meant a lot to him. I think it's really important to be a mentor. I want to give back in any way I possibly can as my career keeps going. And I think that I look at the younger generation right now, and there are a lot of people who come into journalism really in a rush, and I don't always think they see it as an apprenticeship, and that worries me a little bit, because the younger people who come into our newsroom now, who really just come, being ambitious and aggressive about what they want, but also humble and sort of willing to listen and learn the craft from people, and I'm not including myself in this, but the legends at NPR who I'm surrounded by. That's when you really learn, and when I think your career can really take off. I think higher education is more important today than it ever has been, but it's also a really critical moment to make sure institutions are figuring out how to play both roles. I mean, how to make it a well-rounded experience for people who want that, but also make sure they have skills where they can actually get jobs and make a career. And that's a really hard place to be, I think, for a lot of schools.